From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In tonight's recording, we go over that recon that is likely done by tonight, if not this weekend, with 90% of the recon agreed to and all the back end now done. Well, at least the front end. One of the ends. In this recording, we go over all the incredible great news as the recon will likely go for a vote next week. But the deal will be likely done by the end of tonight, if not this weekend, with 90% already formulated. Americans don't know this recon exists. What are the Democrats trying to do? And then the price tag, likely to go on the high end, $2 trillion. We have the latest details tonight. Then the big updates. This is the final update of the day. The final recording of the night with the programs in, the programs out. It's a nail biter. Get that pen and paper ready. We're going to go down the list, which programs got in, which programs got out, and which could still get added in during Votorama. Then student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. And there's a $10,000 offer on the table. I have the latest details in this recording. Then COLA's going up. And guess what? Another fifth stimulus discussion coming out. One legislator saying get ready for fifth stimulus. We're going to do it right next. But as we go into a big evening, the details across the board are the following. That there is a lot of money at issue. $15,000 that will be paid to you in this incredible recon. And that recon is right at the edge of the finish line with Pelosi saying 90% is done. Richard Neal saying everything on the front end agreed to and finalized. We just got to write it up. Oh boy, it's a big broadcast and we got a lot of breaking news. It's all starting right here, right now. The final update of the day, totally different than Afternoons LA, and it starts right here on Evenings LA. Hey, good evening, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day across the board and hope the day has been good for you as well. In tonight's recording, we got a lot coming up and it starts right now and right here. In this recording, we go over everything that's happening direct from Santa Monica tonight as a $3.5 trillion recon being reduced down into $2 trillion and your fourth stimulus check update heating up. We go over all the details in tonight's recording. With a deal happening, could be formulated as early as tonight, if not Sunday. The price is right, likely going on the high end, $2 trillion. We thought it could go as low as 1.7. Programs in and out. I have the latest rundown and the meat and potatoes of the part of the recording. We'll go over the provisions that stayed in and the ones that went out. Then student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven across the board. I have the latest detail tonight. Across the sea. Oh boy, what happened with that graphic? There it went. Oh, now it's coming back. There you go. Well, just decide where you're going. I've changed more diapers than the rest of you in this room. Says Pelosi. Cola going up, but that's not the only thing going up. Diaper sales as well. The stimulus heating up. We got incredible details as well on that. And then we go into a big evening as this channel celebrates 1.5 year anniversary this weekend. It's all deliciousness and the excitement's brewing. It's a nail biter. And boy, there's a lot of changes tonight. And with that, subscribe. This is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoon. Shows tonight at 6 o'clock with evening's countdown right after this. Then we got stream stimulus at 7 o'clock. New shows about for stimulus from 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, 11:30, 3 a.m., and 3:30. So subscribe. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into this recon. This recon is going to be a big payday for the viewers of this channel. Viewers of this channel, if you've been with me for a long time, you know how I get your money. And this recon will be valued at about $15,000 for viewers of this channel. As soon as it becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get this money. This is $15,000 if you're a single individual, married couple, not children, with children. SSI, SSDI, not SSDI. Red states, blue states across the board. Several clusters of checks passed the subcommittee over 2 weeks ago. Which ones have survived as of tonight? which ones are getting reduced, and which ones are going to the casino. I have the latest details. Get that pen and paper ready. Here we go. Cluster number one is the cakewalk cluster, because stuff just seems to survive in this one. Hazard pay and elder care. So far tonight, no indications removed. They got hazard pay in there by broadening the eligibility of the earned income tax credit and increasing the amount of money. Up to $4,000 of elder care, no word that it's been removed just yet. And then $4,000 for young children. They got money in there for college students, grants to the university, and grants to the student as well. The Pell's grant made tax-free. No indication it's been removed as well. But we do have indication the child tax credit is being hacked apart. It was originally supposed to be 18 years, $51,000, not happening. Then 10 years, then 5 years, now down to 1 year. $3,600 on the high end per child. They got money in there for the home repairs. So far, still staying in there. Incentives to repair homes in low-income communities, incredible news. Then they got money for bikes, cars, and trucks, all reportedly still in there. This is $7,500 for the purchase price of a new electric vehicle, U.S. auto manufactured, personal use, a little bit more if for business use, and then 15% for the purchase price of a new electric car. The first add-on comes from Maxine Waters. She has a provision in the recon that is passed. $200 billion for rental assistance. I don't see that number working whatsoever. Too expensive. At $200 billion, you're almost 1/8 of a $2 trillion recon. So I don't see that number working, but I do see something smaller on rent, like the equivalent of third stimulus, which was $47 billion. Maxine Waters' first add-on is that $25,000 of money for first-time home buyers. No update on that as well. So I don't know the fate of that add-on. Let's go to the second cluster check. I have some updates about these. And here, get ready for your diapers. And your diaper comment from Nancy Pelosi. In that second cluster, we got home repairs and paid leave. Paid family leave, paid medical leave. The one where Nancy Pelosi says, I've changed more diapers than anyone in this room. This is the provision that is still a battleground as of tonight. Likely in there, but I don't think many years, because it's very expensive. Childcare tax credits, household tax credits likely still in there. Pre-community college, pre-kindergarten still in there. And then weatherizing your home. Definitely still in there at the moment. Weatherizing your home, because you got to weatherize yourself against the bill. Yeah, it's a nail biter, so weatherize yourself against the nail biters. That's still staying in there. What is not staying in there as initially thought? The community college. Definitely not going to be lifetime free community college, so you have to study fast. It's likely to be 2 years or less. Then the second add-on from Bob Casey, the $250 billion for home health care. Absolutely not happening at that price tag. Too expensive. It will be 1/4 of the whole recon. That's $2 trillion. So 250 or 1/8. Definitely not happy at 250. Maybe if he shortened the duration, which I have no update on that number as well tonight. But that is an incredible provision, $250 billion of home health care across the board. And that is for Bob Casey. No further update about that and its fate, but likely not at that full price tag. Here comes cluster number 3, the messy cluster. The cluster, yeah, that word. This is the one that looks like Games of Thrones goes stimulus. So here we go. It is free school meals for all, checks, cheaper prescription medication, checks for free internet, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, and checks for seniors and Medicare, dental, vision, and hearing, and checks for workers. So of those checks, what do we know tonight? First, the checks for prescription medication, no longer a problem. They're either out or they've been edited enough because it is no longer been a problem. My speculation on this was actually world exclusive. They got this done because the president cites Kristen Sinema's issues, and this one has been resolved. So that one has been resolved. Then the clean energy provision, which is the Joe Manchin provision that would go after the coal miners of the state of West Virginia out, not staying in there. And that is why the recon is getting done after the president took this out last week, as covered exclusively on this channel. The dental, vision, and hearing care, I'm going to cover this a lot throughout this recording tonight because the president talked about it last night. We got an update about a few minutes ago. This is Bernie Sanders' provision. It's in there. It will survive, but it will not be a lifetime as Bernie Sanders wanted it. MSC, we have an update tonight about that as well, the IRS MSC check. What is the update? It's the process. It's really the process. You have a Democrat from Florida coming up late in this video who's a House member who says, you know what? No one's asked me what I want. No one's asked me what I want, she says. And why is that important for the purpose of MSC? Why? Because House members can modify what they want. The negotiations that unfolded today were really the highest tier of the Democratic Party. The president, the Speaker of the House, the majority leader, Kristen Sinema, Joe Manchin, and that's about it. Sporadically, Richard Neal and Bernie Sanders, and that was it. So it's not like they're calling Jalopal on the phone. It's not like they're calling Omar or AOC on the phone asking their opinion of the situation. So if AOC Omar want to do a monthly stimulus check, no one's asked them, and guess what? The opportunity is that House amendment. How will this work? What do you need to know? One of the messages I want to make very, very clear is where we are in this process. First, they're looking for an agreement. But if you've been with this channel for a long time, you know how these agreements work. They do these agreements at the highest level of the political party, the highest level of the Democratic Party. They don't actually ask every single member of the Democratic Party, do you like this? So they get an agreement together. Then they write it up, and then they call it for a vote on the House side first. My exclusive reporting is confirmed again. At that point, House members who have a problem with it, they raise their hand, say, I have a problem with it. You left out provisions I want in there, and those people can introduce amendments. So we have Omar saying this week she would introduce an amendment for that IRS monthly stimulus check. The House bill is not the finish line, because guess what? The House amendments can come right before the vote. Then the Senate is not the finish line either, because the House bill, whatever is passed in the House, goes to the Senate, and the two-day vote-a-rama at the very end is where senators can introduce totally brand new things never seen in this entire process. We saw this in January 2021, where the senators Warren and Schumer introduced a vote-a-rama amendment to make the tax implications of a student loan debt forgiven wiped away. What's at issue? They knew that student loan debt would be forgiven by this president sometime this year. And they knew that under the tax code, debts forgiven are taxable, meaning if you get $30,000 of debt forgiven, you have to pay $15,000, $20,000 of taxes out of your pocket to the IRS. You don't have $20,000 of checks, money just sitting around to pay the IRS. So they got introduced and got passed a vote-a-rama amendment in January 2021 to make the forgiveness of student loan debt not a taxable event, change the tax code. So senators that want to add things like an IRS and monthly stimulus check, very critical of the equation. And that is what Chuck Schumer told viewers this channel last week, the week before, and a week across the board as well. What's important to do is advocate, because we're not at the finish line. The finish line is several steps away. And the message is the following. They now have in total between congressional senatorial offices received more context of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching story from LA viewers. They now have a better understanding of how the average American are trying to make it through the pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories, and they have voice of the people. And you, LALATE, because you have become too loud to be ignored. Very, very kind. Let's read the last sentence on air together, because it's important in view of what I just said. It talks about advocacy. Please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy, as you are the professional voice for the people. You have become LALATE. And push until we're over the finish line. Very important. You need to advocate, because guess what? You need to advocate when we have a House bill. You see the House bill, you don't like it. Not time to close up shop, because they can introduce amendments after the House bill, before the House vote. Then the House vote, you don't like what happens? Guess what? You need to advocate, because they can introduce Senate amendments during the two-day Senate vote-a-rama. And that is why you have to continue to advocate. Meantime, in the second half of this video, we got a lot coming up. The latest scorecard on all those programs heat up tonight, and they're coming up in the meat and potatoes second half of this video. We'll be going over the provisions in and the provisions out. And this is where we're heading. Americans don't know this recon exists. The price tag will be likely 2.1 trillion, but which provisions are in? Which ones are out? Which ones are the battleground? What's remaining? And what has been done? The latest details from Richard Neal, Nancy Pelosi, and comments minutes ago are incredible. Spoiler alert, it looks like we could be done by tonight, if not certainly by this weekend. It's finalized very quickly. Then We'll be looking over the student loan debts and also FIS stimulus, which is right behind us as well. We got a big second half of this video. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. Get ready with that pen and paper because we're going to go down the programs, and those programs will pay you about $15,000. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the big evening update tonight is that a deal could be happening not in 2 to 7 days, but potentially 2 to 7 hours. The deal formulation has sped up very quickly tonight. I have the latest details. The recon may be coming on the high end, close to $2 trillion. I had initially thought it was going to become 1.9. Mixed reports tonight, but I'm going to go over which programs are in, which ones are out, which ones are in jeopardy. Latest update tonight. You're going to be surprised across the board. More student loan debt could be forgiven, an additional $10,000 for everyone. What's going on? I'm going to go over the details of that. And then COLA is going up, but guess what? FIS stimulus has a new life. As one of the top Democrats say, get ready for FIS stimulus in the next few weeks. I have those details and more. Then we turn back into looking at the first year and a half of this channel as this channel celebrates its anniversary, 1.5 years this Sunday, 140 million views. We'll look forward and back during the final seconds of this video. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record for a reason. You're not going to see the breadth of this coverage across the board. You're going to see all the details of the programs in, the programs out, off the record, inside reports. This is not a briefing from the president. This is not a brochure. This is inside information, and this is LALATE. Subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Let's go right over what's happening as we go into tonight's details. First, the big surprise is that the recon is happening faster than I even thought. I really did think that by Friday morning that the recon was not going to get done by Sunday. But now at this point, according to Pelosi and according to Richard Neal, the recon in essence is really basically almost done. How almost? Pelosi says 90%. Richard Neal says everything on the front end is done. Whoa, let's go over all the details right now. When you look at a recon, you have items that are on the front end, which is the programs, and items that are on the back end, which is the pay-fors. How do we pay for the particular programs? And Pelosi and Richard Neal all say that we are basically really at the edge. Now, you're not finished until you're really finished, but what does that mean for you? Let me go over all the details starting right now. Pelosi and the Democrats have said that they believe that they could get this done by the end of the week. As we go into a Friday evening, what does it look like right now? Pelosi said minutes ago that there are many decisions that have to be made, but 90% of everything has been agreed to and written. Whoa, 90%. We're exuberant with the many points, and we build upon our consensus. and we will get this done. Senate Majority Leader and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi were part of a final meeting with the president this morning, a breakfast. The policy has been done. All that's being done is the revenue. What does that mean? The programs reportedly have all been agreed upon, says Richard Neal. Now, he is not one of those upper tier negotiators, but House Ways and Means Committee Chair Richard Neal says the conversation continues, but we have agreed on the policy outcomes. Done. We just have to finish a path on the revenue side. What's the revenue side? I'll tell you that in a second. He says this is the ninth inning. The revenue side is the taxes, how to pay for the recon, meaning he has the programs agreed upon. It's the revenue on the backside has to be agreed upon. Do I agree with Richard Neal? Do I think he's being accurate? I don't think he's being accurate. I think there is still some policy negotiations going on. So I think he's over talking the situation. I think there is a little bit still more negotiations on the policies. But what is being done on the back end? Now, this is fascinating. It shows you how when you try to want to really get something done quickly, you can get it done. The President of the United States from, April until now, wanted to raise corporate taxes, wanted to raise the wealth tax. And Kristen Sinema, unbeknownst to you and I, had said, no, not doing that. And every single week for every single month was told that. And the president didn't look for alternative ways to pay for the recon from modifications of the tax code. Well, after Kristen Sinema sold him last week, stop asking me, I'm not changing my position. Suddenly, he had a light bulb and said, you know what, after a few months, maybe I should now look for an alternative. And he did, and he found it. Why didn't he do this before? I'm not particularly clear, but now a White House source says that the president found other revenue support for the recon, and Sinema said yes, it is not. So corporate taxes not going up, billionaires' taxes not at the moment going up, but they would do international, domestic, high net worth individuals and tax enforcements with loopholes. Very, very fascinating. How about the vote? If they got the agreement in principle this weekend, when would the vote be? Next week, if they're ready, is the quote from Steny Hoyer. There's been a hoping that it would be a deal for the last 3 months, says Steny Hoyer, is the majority leader of the House. So I'm hoping we get this done by Friday. And if this is done and the roads and bridges is done, then we'll get them both for a vote next week. Very, very fascinating. I'm going to state Stephanie Murray's quote right now, which is important. She is a representative out of Florida. She's a Democrat. And she says, no one's asked me what I want in the recon. And when you do, I'm going to make changes. Wow, that is big. This is the person for things like MSC. Not that she wants MSC. It's talking about how people that are not higher tier Democrats in the party have the opportunity to make changes because they have not been part of the negotiations. While there's a significant focus on Senate members, House members have a different perspective on the bill. I would like to engage, and I will. We will need to make sure that everyone's concerns are heard. I love that. The president last night said that he absolutely is going to get the recon done. I do think I'll get it done, but I'm not going to do it by raising anything for those taxes. Why? Because as to Kristen Sinema, who he referred to as smart as the devil and very supportive of the environmental agenda in my legislation, will not raise a single penny on taxes on the corporate side or on the wealthy people side. So the president is now looking for those alternatives, and he has found them, which causes you to wonder, why not do this months ago? It's not like she just told him yesterday this was an issue. He says, look, I've been a senator for 370 years. I am really good at putting things together. Do your legislation take 370 years? Then as a Joe Manchin, my favorite quote of the last 24 hours is this one. Folks, this quote is just... the president appearing on CNN's town hall last night said Joe Manchin is a good guy. He's a friend of mine, and I think he has good ideas, but he does not support the dental, vision, and hearing benefits. Guess what? He's using Joe Manchin as a scapegoat because the president doesn't want to do those provisions as Bernie wants to do them. Yeah, isn't that cute? When you're on broadcast media and you're talking about the provisions for the first time for the American people, you blame Joe Manchin and not yourself because Bernie Sanders isn't having a deal because the president only wants to give Bernie vouchers. More about that in a second. So, a new poll says that 90% of Americans don't even know the recon exists. Is that changed based upon last night's broadcast of CNN? Maybe, maybe not. I didn't even know the show was on. So you didn't know the show was on, then it didn't help. But Democrats are having a big problem. No one knows this recon exists, and the people that do know exists don't know what's in there. And guess what? The president's not telling them either. The Price is Right. I had said I think it's going to 1.9. Then earlier today it looked like 2. It could be 2, but it's definitely not 1.7. 1.7 was the number the progressives said they wanted. I said that's not going to 1.7. The president said do 2. I said 2 is sort of high. And then I thought it was going to go 1.9, which is the threshold for the moderate Democrats. Look like it's coming in there. That is why Schumer and others have said we're going to get it done. Majority Whip Dick Durbin, when asked about people not knowing about the recon, says, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt one bit. It's our fault as Democrats. We have a chance to end that differently. The Price is Right, though. Patty Murray, Democrat Washington, says, we all see the timeline. And then Debbie Dingell, Democrat Michigan, says the president's been very decisive. He's showing leadership. You sort of sense something changed here, and there's a lot of things changed. He was told to take the clean energy out for Joe Manchin. He took it out. He was told to take out the corporate and wealth tax for Kristen Sinema. He took it out. And then everything got done. Why couldn't he have just done this months ago? As Dingell says, he's been very decisive. Yeah, as opposed to before, which I guess when he was not decisive. But the good news is that, here we go. Someone learned you have to be decisive to get things done. And what's going in and what's going out, what climate is and climate out. Here go the program rundown. Get ready for this. Wednesday morning, we were told that community college was out. Jalapal told us that. There'll be something for higher education, but probably won't be free community college. And then Nancy Pelosi said, who said it's out? Pelosi said, news to me. That's not a decision. And when asked about the paid family leave, which is a fortune, $1,700 a week. I mean, that's a lot of money. Pelosi said, I've changed more diapers than anyone in this room. Yeah, adult, children's diapers? Whose diapers? But that has been a battleground from Nancy. She's going to the mat for it. Timeline. It looks like they're staying on course. We continue to be on schedule, says Pelosi. We have a goal. We have milestones. We have met every milestone along the way, and we're going to reach our goal. Schumer had said on Wednesday, we're going to get close. We're getting closer to the agreement. We want to finalize a deal by the end of the week, but we have a lot moving together. Here's a commentary. Well, not commentary. Here's an insert up there. When Schumer and Pelosi say 90% done, we're near an agreement, remember, that is among them and the higher tiers of the Democratic Party. There's no guarantee that there's going to be a dissenter or someone who wants to make an amendment. Yeah. So when they say we're 90% done there, they mean between Joe and Kristen and Bernie and Chuck and Nancy and the other Joe. It's not regarding, Omar and AOC, because no one has included those in the negotiations. Cuts and non-cuts. Where are we going? Here we go. Get that pen and paper ready. Childcare cuts. Childcare cuts likely to be 1 year. $3,600 if the child is like 6 years or younger. And then if the child is about 18 to 6, then it's about $3,000. You're not going to get $51,000 a child. We all had a great laugh last night on Evenings LALATE as that one representative, House Appropriations Chair, Rosa DeLaura, said she wanted to spend a quarter of your entire recon on giving children 5 years of money tied to inflation at $600 billion out of a $2 trillion bill. No, not happening. Not happening. The Grinch is not stealing Christmas anytime soon. So that is not happening. Obamacare subsidy is still in there. Medicare subsidy is still in there. But here we go. This is where I laughed earlier in this video. Dental, vision, and hearing care. This is Bernie's baby, and Bernie wants a lifetime. President Joe Biden is opposed to lifetime. And on broadcast media last night, he blamed it on Joe Manchin. Yeah, that's just... Blame everything on Joe Manchin. There you go. So, the president has asked for vouchers. I guess that's a very forbidden word. I don't know why. Bernie doesn't like vouchers. And then the president's asked 3-year timeline. Paid family leave, which is the Nancy Pelosi diaper line, that is a battleground. It is because it's a lot of money. Climate provisions, very situational, some in, some out. But here again, you cause to concern. Why did the president do this? I think the very first video of the Joe Biden administration was me talking about executive orders of the president about climate when he came into office, and people scoffed at the moment. Well, guess what? We now know tonight on Eating to LA for the first time ever the reason why this recon was not done months ago. It's because the president's team had inserted a climate provision that would have put on the unemployment line all the coal miners of West Virginia in the holidays. Yeah. And guess who their elected official is? Joe Manchin. Do you want your citizens of your state all unemployed overnight because of a bill you signed off on? Of course not. You're going to say no. And apparently the president has been told no since day one that this would unemploy all the coal miners of West Virginia. Well, some climate person in that administration said, no, 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 keep it in there. Ultimately, that climate provision came out, and that's why the recon is getting done. You would have thought that someone who was told no at day one about a provision that would unemploy an entire people of an entire quadri of the state would have taken it out long ago. They left it in there, and that is why this recon dragged on, was that provision with a climate person in the administration who want to keep it in there. What about the salt? Carbs and salt, cut it out. Salt going out. The push for the lift, the cap on state and local tax deductions coming out. Then community college, better study quickly because it's not going to be lifetime. It's either going to be in there for 2 years or out. And then the 100. The wonderful legislator who wanted to spend a quarter of the recon on children, not happening. That was blocked very vigorously. The wonderful representative Amy Berra out of California says, take whatever climate provision you got and run with it and call it a day. Don't hold out any longer. Climate, Medicare remain those battlegrounds. So with that, where are we right now? We have a recon that'll pay viewers of this channel about $15,000. As soon as it becomes long, I'll show you how to get this money. We have some provisions. We're getting updates on the hour by the hour, like climate and taxes and dental and vision. Some provisions we're getting no updates about, like Maxine Waters or weatherize your home, not getting updates across the board. We are expected to be sort of blindsided when the final announcement comes out because guess what? They're not giving us press briefings. All this is inside information. So understand, this is based upon inside information during negotiations. They're not coming out and saying, here's a list of what's in there, here's a list of what's not in there. Remember, that's not the finish line. When they're finished with whatever agreement, verbal agreement they have this weekend, then they go and write it up. That becomes the House bill. That House bill is not the finale. The House bill is put to the House floor. Then they introduce amendments before they call the vote. Then it goes to the Senate, and the senators have different amendments they want to add in. They add those amendments in. They call them for a vote, and they see if they pass. Voting on things during the vote-a-rama is very quick and sudden, so you can slide a lot of stuff into during a vote-a-rama that you couldn't otherwise. There you go. Let's turn to student loan debt, which sort of is just mind-blowing. $10,000 has now been offered by the president to forgive a student loan debt, and the Democrats have not been grabbing it. Big mistake. Democrats should be grabbing this $10,000 offer from the president to forgive student loan debts across the board, everyone. And just qualify the legislation, saying if the president wants to do more later on, he can. Why have they not done it? I don't know. Bad decision. But the president forgave 3 other rounds of student loan debt right before that this week. First, he forgave student loan debts for people who went into the nonprofit sector. Great news. And then the president forgave student loan debts for people who went into the public sector for 10 years after graduation. This is people who work for the city, the county, state, federal government. Absolutely makes sense. Very hard to get your student loan debts paid off if you work for public schools or you're a sanitation driver. Now all your student loan debts are forgiven. Meantime, the president forgave student loan debts for people who became disabled after graduation earlier this month. Then we got a big surprise as fifth stimulus is heating up. This is great news. I'm very excited for you. One of the big legislators at issue says fifth stimulus could be a big winner for Americans and also Democrats. And I agree. What is he talking about? He's talking about fifth stimulus. When? Right after fourth stimulus. Exactly where it always was. That's detailed on this channel. Who did he have the conversation with? Nancy Pelosi. And what is his name? His name is House Budget Chair John Yarmouth, Democrat, Kentucky. He wants to insert all these big provisions that we've always talked about on this channel and even more and do them by recon. Force Republicans to vote against this by recon, like Medicare expansion or child care or senior care, depending on what we decide to put in this space. And I don't see the downside in the election year because we're trying to do things that are really popular. And he spoke to Nancy Pelosi about it this week, and she said yes. Basically, how they provision this is put all this big money in there for seniors and medical things into this fifth stimulus, put it in there, and disabilities, put it in there, do it by recon, pass it quickly, and then turn to the electorate right before the midterms a few months later, say, hey, we just got you all this money. And the Republicans voted against it. Great political theater. And then fifth stimulus, not done across the board, because guess what? It raises your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI, and then applies a new benchmark. COLA, your benefits are going up. COLA is raising your benefits up, current existing benefits. So next year, your benefits will go up 5 to 6%, and that's not the start of the game. That's just the start of the game, because under fifth stimulus, if it becomes law, they're going to raise your benefits up one big time after that, and then apply a new benchmark. First, they'll raise your benefits up one time lifetime. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veteran benefits, then they'll apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation, and they will apply that late next year. So they're first going to apply this, step you up. Then, if this stimulus becomes law, step you up again after that, and then apply the new benchmark there after that. Remember, once you step up, you never step down. These are incredible details across the board. Meantime, as we look into a big weekend and a big week ahead of us, so much to think about. Can you imagine that this channel is turning a year and a half old right when they're supposed to finish the recon? Yeah, it's just great timing. It's just great time. In the last year, we've learned a lot about ourselves and a lot about our community and a lot about our family. And I look back on each of those different aspects all week long. In this recording, I'm going to do one as well right now. One of the things we learned about ourselves over this recording and over the last year is that picking up the pen, picking up the paper, picking up the phone is not a bad thing. That the era of automation, the era of simplicity is not the digital era. Somewhere along the line, some people got used to an idea that the digital era means you go to a website, you type your name in, you press send, and then you get a wad of cash. And it never was the way the digital era was envisioned. When this channel launched and I started doing EIDL and EIDL grant and loan applications, I got a lot of questions where people said, can you just send me the link where I go and fix this? And I said, no, you have to manually pick up the phone and call SBA and tell them, I got to fix this. You need to, whether it was PPP or PUA, you need to go to this step. People would sometimes say, can you just write it out and send it to me and put it in writing? And we understand that in a digital era, a lot of things are easier. But a digital era does not mean that things are automated. Automated is different than digitalness. And certainly as we got into fall 2020, when we looked at that rent and utilities and food and internet, when I first started covering it in fall of last year, people got a lot of money from this channel. But there were also a lot of people who said, can you send me all the states where I call in every state? Basically asking me to make a list of 50 states' phone numbers, city, county, and 6 departments times 50 states, 355, a database of 355 phone numbers to call. Not particularly being rude in the request, they're just asking for it. It was not an unusual request. I saw it quite often. And that's because in the digital era, a lot of people think that everything is automated, that everything is very basic. And it will never be that way. It's important to understand that we have gotten used to a lot of wonderful simplicities of the digital era, whether it's a cell phone or the computer or texting or social media, but that has not replaced the grind. There is always a grind for things, whether it's spending an hour on the phone calling United Way or Salvation Army, whether it's spending an hour on the phone calling the city hall, the county hall. There is always a grind. And with the digital era, there is no replacement for the grind. Over the last year, one of the most surprising stories I ever recorded was one of the first. When I told viewers for the EIDL, pick up the phone and keep on calling. Call every single day to ask them to get that application out of the vortex. What happened? People had applied for that EIDL early on, and their applications were stuck. They were stuck in a quandary, or what I call a vortex. There was nothing wrong with the application. They were just all stuck. SBA hadn't gotten to them. There was a computer malfeasance that caused everyone's applications on 2 days to be stuck somewhere. And I said the only way to get them unstuck is call them up and say, process my application. Call every day, on the day, keep on calling. Now, I know we were on pandemic, we were on lockdown, we had more time to make the call, but that was a grind. It worked. It worked. It was contrary to what a lot of people think about a digital era. Digital era, you just go and apply. The money comes. No, there was a problem. You had to grind. You had to pick up the phone and grind. And I think that this channel has shown people that grinding is a good thing. Grinding is not a bad thing. Grinding is a good thing. We've made a lot of jokes about the donut guy and the donut gal. And that is because they don't believe in the grind. They believe in automation, everything that automatically comes. This has never been a society where things automatically come. This has not ever been a channel where everything comes. I've grind, you've ground. I've ground, you've ground. I don't know. Grinding, I don't know. Coffee ground, I don't know. We've always put our effort in. You have to put an effort in, whether you're learning something or not learning something. You have to put that grind in. I don't care if it's about learning about money or learning about your potential future spouse or learning about the house you're about to buy or the dog you're about to adopt or the cat you're about to take in. You have to make the grind. There's an effort you have to put in, and don't run away from the effort. You feel wonderful when you put the grind in, because ultimately you get the achievement on the back end. For every person who made those 20 or 30 phone calls to SBA to get their application out of the vortex and unlocked, congratulations. To every person who made that phone call in fall of 2020 to get that rent in the thick of the pandemic, congratulations. For every person who reached out to get a PPP lender and was told, no, I don't do it. And I said, reach out to more. And they did. Congratulations. It was all grind. You all got a grind. And for every person who got money under third stimulus in the last few weeks, even last week, congratulations. And for everyone that's going to get $15,000 from this fourth stimulus when it becomes law, congratulations. A grind is upon us, and we're going to get this money as well. And that is how the difference is. Automation has never been this channel. This has not been the check tracking channel. It's the check cashing channel. And the way you cash is your grind. And with that, thank you for joining me on Big Evenings LA. Coming up next is Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock. We got a big show tonight. Then I'm back with you with Street and Stillness at 7, Sirloin at 8, and then we got shows at 9, at 10, 11, and 11:30. Join me this Saturday and Sunday, because at the time of this recording, we still really sense that more negotiations will be underway Saturday and Sunday. So I don't want you to disappear, because you'll tune back on Monday and say, wait a second, they took out weatherizing in the home over the weekend. They took out my electric bike. Darn them. I don't want you to miss anything across the board, because you just know the final hours are going to be eventful. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. The LA newsletter comes out in 2 hours from now. If you're a member, if you are not a member, hit the member link under this video. And if you are a member, watch for it from the YouTube alert system and the LA alert system. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.